as I said, we have guests coming on. This is something I have been excited about for a long time, and we're finally able to do this. Thanks to our amazing producer, Alex, for making this happen because I am not tech savvy at all. And I would have no idea how to do this. I would watch 1,000 hours of YouTube videos and never actually figure it out. So thanks to Alex for this, that we are actually going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to have some awesome conversations with people that I am friends with, people that I look up to, and honestly, people that I don't know very well, but I find super interesting and I'm really big fans of. And I would really want to pick their brains and get you guys to actually watch that and see that. And hopefully you can gather some value or inspiration from that as well. Guys, we're back. And by we, I mean me. As you can see, I'm by my lonesome. My lovely wife, Sam, is taking a break from the podcast moving forward for now. I know you're super sad and you want to turn this podcast off right now, but don't do it. Don't do it. I got lots of awesome stuff for you. Sam will be back. But right now, she's focused on other things. I got lots planned. Alex, our producer, has a lot planned as well. We're putting our heads together and we got some dope stuff coming up. So as much as that's not good news, because Sam's awesome and I know you love her, I love her too. Alex loves her too. We also have episodes coming back every single week, which is great. Because as you know, we took a step back from dropping episodes every single week and we moved bi-weekly. We were focused on other things at the time and we wanted to still put out content regularly. So that was just a good decision for us just to keep balance with everything. Now we really want to put things out on a consistent basis, on a weekly basis, and weekly's best. We'd love to get more frequently, get multiple times a week, and that is in the pipeline as well. But for right now, we're going to move right back into weekly. So you'll be listening to this on Wednesday, hopefully, is the day that it drops. And so moving forward, make sure that you're subscribed on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple because 7 days from now, again, you'll be getting hit with another episode weekly moving forward. So that's one of the things that is a massive change. That's a good news as far as massive change. The next one, we are going to be doing more vlog style. So as much as Sam is gone from this situation here, Sam will be present in a lot of the lifestyle vlogs that we have planned. So we're going to be dropping lifestyle vlogs on the YouTube that will not be available on Spotify or Apple. So make sure that if you're someone who enjoys podcasts from listening, that you go to our YouTube, you subscribe, and you watch the vlogs because there's going to be some awesome stuff in there. We're going to have, they're true lifestyle vlogs. So they're going to be like, Alex, what are we aiming for? Like 10, 12-minute vlog, something like
I
that?
think to start, we're going 5 to 9, like around the
Yeah.
midway point. But
Okay, around 8 minutes or something. So that's where we're going to start with that, and those will be mostly it'll have training in it. It'll have our day to day. It'll be how we eat. It'll be all of our Sam and I both have our own coaching businesses, so we'll be going through kind of some inside baseball on that as well. And then honestly, just how we live like normal humans because we do that too. So there'll be kind of everything in there, and you'll get kind of a look in under the hood of kind of how we live our lives, which to be honest feels normal to us, but we recognize that it might not be normal to other people. And I don't know, sometimes I need to step back, and I do step back and look in, and I'm like, man, this is kind of a cool life that I live. Some of it's work, some of it's not, all of it's enjoyable, really, truly. I love it all. But I think giving you guys a look into that will be pretty cool and super enjoyable. So I think that's what the vlogs will help achieve. And we're going to be doing those vlogs once a month. So stay tuned for that as well. And that, like I said, that'll be on the YouTube. So you got to be subscribed to the YouTube. Stay peaked on YouTube. So make sure you're subbed to that. The final surprise and good news. Okay, I know I gave you bad news first. So, I know you're supposed to do a good news sandwich. So I did this kind of wrong, but it doesn't matter. The last piece of good news here is we're going to have guests. So I'll tell you, just stay tuned because we have a bunch of people lined up to be on the show. I'm not going to say when, and I'm not going to say who, but we have some awesome guests lined up, and it's going to be a ton of fun because I'm going to get them zoomed into the show, and we're going to have some awesome conversations. A lot of these people are people that I know personally. Some of them I don't know personally, but people I've looked up to in my industry for years, and people also not in my industry because, as you know by this point, if you've been an avid watcher or listener of Stay Peak, we touch on things that are far beyond just fitness and health. So we're going to be talking to all different types of people that kind of fit with kind of the stuff we're talking about here, with the brand that we're kind of developing here, and the type of stuff that honestly I just want to talk about because I'm not going to talk to people that I don't really want to talk to, and I think that comes out when you're when you show it to people. So I'm going to invite people I actually want to have a conversation with, and I think that's going to be a ton of fun. So between all that, we have a lot of good news. Obviously, Sam being gone is not good news, but she'll be back on those lifestyle vlogs, and it'll be a ton of fun. And we will get Sam back on the podcast for the odd episode. Um, anyways, that's the housekeeping notes. Okay, make sure you are subscribed to Apple, Spotify, YouTube. YouTube's the most important because of these vlogs, and you're going to want to watch this. What I wanted to chat about today was staying on track with your fitness when traveling. Sam and I, we, what's today? A week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we got back from visiting our friends in Florida, Jacksonville Beach area. And we were there for 12 weeks. We, when I probably like 2 days in after we had a connecting flight down there. And so it took us, it's an easy flight from Toronto. So it wasn't really that far. Took us the morning and then before we knew it, we were there and landed. But what I realized is once we were there for a few hours in the morning, I became very acutely aware of how much traveling can throw you off of your normal routine. And when it comes to fitness and working towards a specific fitness goal, it's amazing how much your routine plays a massive role in that. So as I was thinking about that, I was like, well, this is something that I want to write about. And I did. I wrote about it and I have an email list I sent it out to. And I want to go over some of that stuff today because I think this is massive. I work with clients in my coaching business and I help them lose weight primarily. Um, with that, this is a common thing that I see clients struggle with, where it's like, I actually just started with a client, a new client, 3 days ago. And on the original call that we had before she started, she was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's get this thing rocking. And then she goes, hang on, I got a question though. I was like, okay, what is it? And she goes, I'm going on a trip for 4 days, like literally in 2 days. Like I'm leaving in a couple days. I'm going on a trip for like 4 or 5 days. And I was like, oh yeah, that's all good. No worries. But in her head, she was concerned because she's like, I'm going to be off routine. I'm just starting this new fitness program. I don't want to get thrown. I don't want to get thrown off my routine and then be kind of lost or derailed. Well, that's what people are commonly afraid of. And it makes sense because if you don't have the skills and the habits and the strategies built into your day to day, and they're not automatic yet within your lifestyle, once you change your environment, you change up your routine, everything gets thrown for a loop. All of those things go by the wayside. And it's like, oh no, I didn't hit my steps. I didn't hit my water. I don't know when I'm going to go for a workout. I don't even know where a gym is near here. And, I'm eating at different food times and going to bed later than usual. I'm waking up later than usual. I'm in someone else's house, so they may be more in control of the food. We're going out to restaurants a lot more. All of these things are typical. Actually, the last one that's most important is a lot of people will drink more alcohol when they're on vacation as well. So all of these things together can really, I think, pose a pretty serious threat for people in regards to staying on track with their fitness routine. And it derails a lot of people. And like my new client that I just started working with, understandably, she was worried about this. So this is something that I want to go over because when Sam and I were in Florida, we quickly realized that we didn't struggle with this as much as some of our clients. And then that led me to kind of go down this rabbit hole of like, okay, why don't I struggle as much with this as the people that I work with? And then that's when I kind of looked at, well, what are my habits? What are my strategies? What are the skills and the routines that I've kind of built up that seemingly are actually quite easy for me right now? And what are those things? And then how can I explain those to other people so that they can steal those, implement those into their own life? And then when they have a trip coming up, whether it's an all inclusive resort down in the Caribbean, they're going over to Europe for a couple weeks, they're going to South America for a backpacking trip, whatever it is, or they're literally just going on a weekend trip somewhere else. That's enough, right? 2 or 3 days off can throw you for a big loop. So you can take all of these, tips and you can implement them. They're all quite actionable. And I actually, There's probably other stuff in here that I use, but I didn't include in the list. So it's not completely exhaustive because it does depend on the person, but these are kind of the big rocks, you could say. So these are going to be some of the main things that you could implement into your own life so that you know, okay, I have a trip coming up. How can I plan ahead for it? Especially if you don't have a coach. If you have a coach, you should be reaching out to your coach and be like, hey, I need a game plan for this. What is the game plan? And your coach should be helping you with that based on you, right? And that should be fully personalized to you. So if you don't have a coach, this is going to be extremely helpful because then you can take these and kind of self coach yourself through them, right? You can take them and, you could be 2, 3, 4, 5, however many days out from the trip and be very confident knowing like, okay, I have a game plan set up. It's not, is it perfect? No, it's not going to be perfect, but is it going to be good enough to keep you on the rails while still also, this is key, this is very key. You want to stay on track with your fitness goals, but you want to marry this with the primary objective of a trip, assuming it's not a business trip or something. This is a pleasure trip. You want to marry this with the primary objective of enjoying yourself. Because if you stay on track with your fitness goals and you hate most of your trip, then that sucks and that is not worth it. And in my opinion, that's not healthy either. So if we're taking a more holistic approach to health, which I personally do, then I think what you have to do is you have to think about how am I going to enjoy this trip to the best of my ability while also simultaneously staying on track with my fitness goals and coming back into my normal routine at home and be able to continue on the trajectory that I had beforehand and feel good about it. Okay. So that's what I'm going to go through today. I got a few here lined up that I want to go over. The first one here, and this one's simple. It'll cost you some money potentially. It doesn't have to if you plan better for it. But this one might cost you a bit of money, but it's very, very worth it. And it is keeping water on you at all times. So keep water on you at all times. I would recommend, honestly, what I meant by it'll cost you money potentially is if you're stuck without water jug, no water around you, get to a convenience store or some type of market or gas station or whatever it is that's going to have like a 1 or 1.5 liter water bottle. Don't pick those dinky little 500 milliliters. Go for the biggest one they got. Um, get once you finish that off, you can refill it as many times as you need throughout the rest of the day. So that's what I would highly recommend. The other option is honestly when you go into the travel, uh, for literally the first travel day on your way to the airport, then if you just have your own 2 liter stainless steel water jug, whatever it may be, just bring that with you. That's what I did. I have a 2 liter stainless steel water jug that I chugged heading into security, chugged it all. And then once we're past security, refilled it up completely, and then I knew I was good for the entire trip to Florida. So once we landed by 10 or 11 a.m. or whatever it was, because we had a super early flight, so we were up since like 2:33 a.m. We landed like just before lunch, and I had at least 2 or 3 liters in me already. So from a water perspective, I knew I was good. So that's going to be key. So it's like keep water on you all the time. If you can't find water, don't just or if, I shouldn't say that. You can always find water. If you don't have water on you, go buy some. Okay, buy the biggest jug you can and just use that for the rest of the trip, or at least the rest of the day. Second one here: if your trip has a lot of sitting and laying around, so this is where like two classic trips that are very different from each other is the one will be like going to visit Spain or somewhere in Europe, right? And you're going to be doing lots of walking. So if that happens, great. The movement and your energy expenditure throughout the trip is already built into your trip. That's awesome. If it's not that type of trip and you're doing this second type of trip I'm about to say, which is all inclusive resort type trips. You're going down to the Caribbean or somewhere tropical, and you are going to be doing lots of laying by the ocean, sitting on the beach, and laying by the pool. Something like that, where it's a lot of just laying around. That's perfectly fine. And if that's more kind of your style of trip, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build in and schedule your walks ahead of time. So just know every morning when I wake up, I go for a walk before we go down for breakfast. Or after breakfast, I go for my walk. Or I know that we're going to be doing a lot of excursions throughout the middle of the day. That's going to already have a bunch of movement in, probably. And then maybe you end up going for a walk after dinner or before dinner or whatever it is. And if you're going down with a partner or friends or whatever it is, then plan around, their schedule as well. Obviously, you're going to have to put your heads together and figure that out. It's going to be a huge asset if they're game to come with you and be like, hey, when do you want to go for a walk? I'm planning to go this time, whatever. But that's going to be absolutely crucial. If your trip already is very much leisurely and it doesn't have a lot of movement built in, you just have to schedule it in. There's no way around that. So that's going to be key. So we're covering water there. We got water, we got movement. Both of those are very, very simple, but they require just being mindful, being aware, and then just planning for it and just being like, okay, where's my water? Okay, I got to go buy some then. Where am I getting walks in? Okay, when can I get it in? That's all is required there. Third one here. Um, if you plan on working out, do not say, I'm going to try to work out while I'm gone. I have clients say this all the time, and I always correct their language a little bit here because I say, "There's no pressure from me, your coach, to work out while you're away. Is it better if you work out while you're away? Sure. But if you choose to take a break for 7 days from working out and going to the gym, that's perfectly fine. You're not going to derail because of that. That's fine. Um, but if you do want to work out and you truly do want to work out while you're on vacation, don't say I'm going to try and work out. Just say I'm going to work out, and then just make that promise to yourself and keep that promise to yourself. Um, you don't need to be perfect with this. You might plan to be like, I am going to work out 4 times while I'm gone. Great. Or I plan to work out every day while I'm gone. Great. You may not end up working out as many times as you told yourself, but you'll work out something because you're doing your best to keep that promise to yourself. And you're going to be planning ahead for that. You're going to have to do that depending on what you have planned on each day. Right. But go in with that promise of like, I am choosing to work out. If you choose, if you don't, you do not need to work out. So don't hold yourself to that. If you're like, oh, I should be working out on my vacation. So I guess I'll try and do it. Do not take that approach. If you feel like you don't want to work out on your vacation and you're kind of gaslighting yourself into like, I should work out and you don't want to, don't do it. Because what you're going to do is you're going to do what so many people say, which is, I'm going to try and work out. And you're doing that. You're saying that because you feel like you should. And then you're not going to do it. I guarantee you're not going to do it. So if you want to work out, if you don't want to work out, don't. If you do, then hold that promise to yourself and pick something realistic. Maybe it ends up being 2 workouts while you're gone. If it's a week, maybe it's 3 times. Maybe you can do a 10, 15-minute circuit uh, every single day. I don't know. Whatever is realistic for you, but hold that promise to yourself. And then you're just gonna have to plan ahead and schedule them in. Um, this one's really, really important. Schedule what days you choose to enjoy alcohol instead of being reactive. This is also very common. Is like if you are a drinker and you enjoy alcohol on vacation, that's fine. And if you do that, what I highly suggest, if you, again, we're trying to marry this with our fitness goals, right? So if you already know I'm going to be enjoying more alcohol than usual on my vacation, that's fine. What I would highly suggest is planning this ahead of time. So, and what I mean by that is there's a few different ways you can kind of slice this, but what I would do at the very least is plan which days you're going to choose to drink. So maybe if you're going down for 7 days, first day, you're probably excited. You're probably going to want to have some drinks when you get there. Great. Maybe the day after you hold back, or maybe you just have a glass of wine with dinner. And then maybe the next day you go out and you go party later in the night, whatever. And maybe you alternate days. Or maybe you go 2 or 3 days without alcohol and then whatever. But you can kind of plan this out from like a daily perspective. How you could do it intra-daily, these are just examples, right? Is you could you could give yourself like a time cap or a time threshold even where it's like I will not start because it's common, right? When you go on a vacation, especially one where there's more alcohol, is you go down, you have mimosas with breakfast, you start having some day drinks on the beach at like noon, and then before you know it, you're like half in the bag by like 3 or 4 p.m. And then you have a nap, and then you keep drinking into the evening. So if that's how you choose to enjoy your vacation, that's fine. No judgment from me. But that's going to be very hard to marry with your fitness goals. So if you care about your fitness goals, you're probably not going to want to do it like that. So what you could do is be like, I'm not going to have a drink before 2 p.m. This is just arbitrary. I'm just picking a number. But you're going to have to, you want to go through this kind of thought process with yourself. And maybe you just have that parameter set up where it's like, I just will not start drinking until after 2 p.m. Or maybe it's dinner time, depending on how the days go. But those are kind of some strategies of how to integrate, I think, reasonable and responsible alcohol use while still enjoying it more than usual on vacation. Next one here. Buy groceries with healthy snacks and whole foods you can easily grab and go. So, I mean, this is going to be, I guess, kind of self explanatory for the most part, but it's going to be mostly like single ingredient whole foods. I have lots of resources like this. So you can always DM me on Instagram at Tim_MSHC if you want some resources. I have one in particular that is 50 healthy snacks, just a complete list of the 50. And I'll send that over to you for free if you want. You can pick from that. But the idea there is your you want to have healthy whole foods more easily accessible and more available than junk food. And for that to exist, you have to actually put some effort because lower quality junk food is going to be prevalent. It's pervasive. It's everywhere. And by default, it's just going to be in front of you. So, and that's fine. And you're probably going to enjoy some of that. And that's also fine. But for you to have a decent chance at staying on track with your fitness goals while still enjoying yourself, you're going to want to get kind of ahead of the eight ball here, and you're going to want to just when you get to your destination, ideally, depending on what this all depends on, like what how the actual trip is set up for you. In our situation, when we were in Florida, we were at a friend's place. So once we got there, it's like, all right, let's go to the grocery store and let's just pick up all the food we need for the next couple days. So we picked up all the foods that I would actually normally eat. So for me, I went and I picked up extra lean ground turkey, extra lean ground beef, bunch of rice, coconut oil, ground milled flaxseed, salt. I mean, there's some of the stuff our friends had in their house anyway. Cilantro, sweet Thai chili sauce. What else? Some type of greens, and then frozen broccoli, frozen Brussels sprouts, and that's kind of my base of what I eat every day. And so I was like, okay, at the very least, I have those available. So when I'm ready for another meal, I don't have to just be like, oh, I don't have anything. I guess I'll just go eat something crappy. So it was ready to go, and I did that once, literally within a couple hours of when we got to our destination. So if you're able to do something similar like that, I would highly recommend it. That way, if you have access to a fridge, when you open that fridge, you'll probably have some booze in there, which is fine. And ideally, you have it paired with some good snacks in there as well. So it's not just Doritos and alcohol. Um, Next one here. So stop eating around 80% at every meal and never eat until stuffed. This one is a lot more vague and less specific, or it's kind of tough to put our finger on in the moment, but it's going to be good from this is actually a good habit in general. This is actually one of the most important habits that I teach in my coaching program, and it's extremely effective at two things. It's very effective at portion control, no matter what the actual food is. Doesn't matter if it's perfectly healthy or if it's junk food. If we eat till 80% full, we can mitigate a ton of damage by avoiding, the next two, three, four bites that we would have otherwise had if we pushed to 100 or, even over 100% full. The second thing that it does really, really well is it also improves our relationship with food and our relationship with our own kind of just eating behaviors. Most people are mindless eaters. They're not paying attention to the food in front of them. They eat very quick and they kind of check out and don't pay attention at all to the present moment, the meal, how they feel in relation to the meal. They check out on all of that and just eat as quickly as they can. And then before they know it, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm stuffed. I feel like crap. Meal was great, but I ate way too much. And we've all felt like that, myself included. And I'm not perfect, but I practice this habit regularly. But I'm definitely not perfect with it. But it's something that I stay aware of. And this is one that you're going to want to practice no matter what, in like just 100% in your life, whether you're on a trip or not. But when you're on a trip, you're going to be having a lot of newer foods. You're going to be having a lot of higher calorie foods. You're probably going to go out to restaurants more anyway. So there's going to be more sneaky calories in there. And what I mean by that is there's just going to be more calories in general, probably. So you're just going to be eating more food than you normally would. And then you add on to that alcohol, of course. So if you can eat until 80% full and stop yourself before you would otherwise want to keep eating, you're going to be set up pretty damn good, regardless of if you have, the lowest quality, greasiest, grossest pizza in front of you, or if it's boiled chicken and broccoli, just like two opposite ends of the spectrum. But like, it doesn't matter what the actual food is. If you follow that habit of paying attention, eating slow, paying attention to your own fullness cues, stopping around 80% full, you're going to mitigate a ton of damage, for lack of a better term. So that's a really good one to keep in mind. Um, the last one here, this is actually arguably the most important one out of all of this, especially for people that naturally are very hard on themselves and you're maybe more of a obsessive type thinker, you're very hard on yourself, type A type person. You're going to want to really practice compassion and patience with yourself, because the goal here, as much as I laid out all of this, you don't need to be perfect and you will not be perfect. In fact, even when you're not on your trip, you won't be perfect. I'm not perfect with any of this stuff ever. And a lot of people look up to me because I'm their coach and I'm a fitness person. But you do not need to be perfect with any of this. The goal is that you may be improved compared to how you would have normally behaved on a vacation. And you can come back and be like, you know what? I'm really happy with how I handled that. Areas I could have improved, great, but I'm better than where I usually was. And I'm excited to get back onto my normal fitness routine now that I'm back from the vacation. And I can also look back on the vacation and be like, oh, I enjoyed that as well. I had a good time. Um, but you really want to make sure, that you do come, you come at yourself with a mindset of grace, I think, and compassion, because you probably go back to the thing I said before where it's like the eating till 80% full. You're going to screw that up. I can guarantee you that. And you're going to be like, oh, damn it. You're going to stop a meal at 100% full or even way too full and be like, man, that is not what I had planned. And then you feel like you let yourself down. That's going to be part of the journey. You have to accept that and go through that. It's not a comfortable feeling. That is fine. But ideally, you're going to want to let that trigger the response where you go, you know what? I can't control the past, but I can control how I move forward through this. I'm going to have many more meals while I'm here on my vacation, and many more meals even after my vacation at home. So I can kind of use this as an opportunity to learn, take this information, and then apply it to the meals moving forward. So what I would say is go in even before the trip with like, I'm probably, especially if you're someone who's really hard on yourself, go into the trip beforehand being like, I'm going to be hard on myself. So I'm just going to make this point right now to just give myself a little bit more patience and let myself, quote unquote, screw up a little bit here and there while still staying focused on two, three, four, maybe all of these tips. Maybe you follow one of them. But at the very least, it gives you something that you can kind of latch onto, and then allow yourself that room to just be like, I'm not going to nail this. And that's perfectly fine. Because this comes down to what I was saying before, where you're going on vacation. And this all applies on a business trip as well, but that wouldn't have the same objective as a leisure trip, right? So if assuming this is a leisure trip, this is something where you want to relax, check out from your normal life, your normal job, your normal routine, whatever, then the number one objective is not staying on your fitness routine. A lot of people, I think, maybe have that backwards sometimes. You got to be honest with yourself be honest with yourself about that. The number one objective is not to stay on track with your fitness routine. That is secondary. The primary objective, the most important thing, is that you actually enjoy yourself. You're probably spending a lot of money. You're taking time away from work. So there's an opportunity cost financially there as well. Um, you're spending a lot of time, and it might even be some level of stress to get to where you're going. So, and to come home. So between all of those things, you also may be spending time with people you don't normally spend time with as well. So who knows when you're going to be able to do this again with them. So all of these things considered, the number one objective is still to relax, enjoy yourself, chill out, check out, and show yourself a little bit of grace. And then secondary to that, be like, okay, what are my 1 to maybe 5 max? 1 to 5 things that I can focus on day to day throughout this trip so I can come back and feel confident that, you know what? I wasn't perfect, but I handled that way better than I used to. So I'm glad I went in with that approach. Um, so yeah, if you have any questions about that, feel free to DM me at Tim_MSHC. This is something that I talk about all the time with clients because I have clients going away on vacation every week or two. Somebody's going on a trip, right? I probably every week, really, because like even I would include these types of strategies. I would include these for anyone who's leaving Friday to Sunday, just leaving for the weekend somewhere, which happens all the time. So if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to kind of go down the rabbit hole with you and kind of tease out maybe some personalized strategies that could help you based on what you tell me and what your challenges are, what you were thinking. And you'll probably kind of have an idea of the approach you want to take if you're able to kind of reflect on how you normally approach vacations, like in the past, where it's like, yeah, I usually just drink too much and don't pay attention to that. I usually gorge at dinner or the buffet is like way too much. And I feel like I have no control around that. Or I completely fall off my workout regimen and I don't move much at all and just sit around. So you could probably maybe tackle one of those or two of those or all of them, but you could tackle at least one of those of being like, I'm going to improve that this time. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. In conclusion to all of this, okay, I hope that helped you. Conclusion to all of this. Ultimately, I'm super excited for this new direction of the show because, again, we're dropping episodes, some type of content for you every single week. And this is why you're going to want to be subscribed to the YouTube because you're going to want the visual. You're going to want to see this ugly mug. And my lovely wife will be on the vlogs. So she's way more important. So you're going to want to see that. As I said, we have guests coming on. This is something I have been excited about for a long time, and we're finally able to do this. Thanks to our amazing producer, Alex, for making this happen because I am not tech savvy at all. and I would have no idea how to do this. I would watch 1,000 hours of YouTube videos and never actually figure it out. So thanks to Alex for this, that we are actually going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to have some awesome conversations with people that I am friends with, people that I look up to, and honestly, people that I don't know very well, but I find super interesting and I'm really big fans of. And I would really want to pick their brains and get you guys to actually watch that and see that. And hopefully you can gather some value or inspiration from that as well. Um, but there's something I need you to do to help me out with this. Very, very important. First of all, like I said, subscribe to YouTube. Subscribe to Stay Peaked on YouTube. Second thing, you're almost done the episode here. So what I need you to do is I need you to share this episode to your social media. So you can put it on your Instagram story, tag at Stay Peaked, or you can put it on Facebook and you can tag me, Tim Walcott. But at the very least, put it on your Instagram story, tag at Stay Peaked. And then what I want you to do is also tag the person that you want to see be a guest on this show. Who do you want to see me chop it up with? Tag that person in your story as well, and then I'll connect with them and we'll see if we can get them on the show, and it'll be a ton of fun. So I'm really looking forward to this new direction. It's going to be a ton of fun. As always, very happy to hear feedback from any of you, good, bad, constructive, whatever it may be. Um, if you want to send angry emails, you can send it to goFyourself at gmail.com. But for anyone who wants to send me very good, positive advice only, positive feedback only. No, I'm just kidding. Send anything to, you just send it to my DM at Tim underscore MHC, or you can just send it to Stay Peaked Instagram. But other than that, please send us feedback. Always happy to hear more, because we want to continue to grow this thing. We want to continue to improve it. We want to continue to give you more content, which we're doing now with the guests, with the weekly episodes, the vlogs, all that. It's going to be a ton of fun. So thanks again so much for watching. Thanks again for listening. Make sure that you are subscribed to Stay Peaked on Apple. Make sure you're subscribed to Stay Peaked on Spotify. And make sure, most importantly, that you're subscribed to Stay Peaked on YouTube. Talk to you guys soon.